Yep.
Let's call the meeting to order. Have a moment of silence, and immediately after we'll have the pledge of allegiance to the flag. Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
May be seated. Everybody had a chance to read the minutes from the last meeting?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Motion made to approve the minutes from the previous meeting. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Motion carried. Minutes accepted. Correspondence? I don't see any correspondence. All right.
This could come in correspondence. This is a contract with the Global Science Technology. That's all of our computer system and everything, and we have to renew it every year.
Do that correspondence. Sorry. Okay. Doddridge County Commission. Subject. I'm writing the LAN Support Local Area Network contract. I'm writing to inform you about the annual renewal of our LAN administrative contract for your computer system. Our rates have remained the same for the last 2 years. However, this year our annual contract price will increase slightly. The new monthly rate is shown in the enclosed contract. We continue to appreciate the opportunity of assisting your office with your technology requirements. We remain committed to providing you with the highest level of network support service available. It's very important to me and the GST staff to provide exceptional technical support services at the lowest price. Please help us by fill out the attached questionnaire regarding our services. Your feedback helps us provide better service. Please return the survey with 2 signed copies of the enclosed contract to the attention of Sandra Stewart, Director of Contracts, Global Science Technology Incorporated. A self-addressed Nell Uncliffe is included in this package for your convenience. 1 copy of the fully executed contract will be returned for your records. Please feel free to call me if you have any questions. Hammond Wadsworth, Director of State Commercial Projects. Did you read the increase? How much did they increase?
I don't know what it was before. It's $453 now.
What?
So it depends on which one. There's 2 contracts. And that's only one of them. They run our internet service. They handle the assessor's valuation, the statewide. They connect the internet to it. There's another one that handles the maintenance of the actual program.
Okay.
But, and then we have another contract that handles the other part of the courthouse with their internet service. There's 2 different amounts. I don't know
Okay.
which one that one is. It's either 375 or 475. I can't remember. One of them's a little bit more.
I think it's $453 now.
453.
A month? I'd have to go look. I don't think I have it in.
Yes.
A month. 453, 453.
Can we act on this today?
Yeah, because it's something we have to have. And I just got it yesterday. And I couldn't find in any of the minutes what's everything been voted on. Customer voted for. in the beginning to go with global science technology.
We have to approve this in a motion?
I couldn't find where it had ever been done that way, but it's just been a yearly thing that
Oh,
we
okay.
reviewed every year.
Okay,
Dave said he couldn't remember it either.
okay.
What do you think, April?
You can.
We can?
Right.
Okay.
We need a motion, well, we can't make a motion. No, we're gonna,
And she said we could.
Correspondence. For something that comes up in correspondence, you can address it. So.
okay.
Is that the same 453?
This is 453, what's that?
453.
It's probably the same contract.
Okay.
We'll probably be getting another one,
Oh,
or 2 months for
okay.
the other one.
Okay.
I can go look and find out the exact amount if you like.
I'm looking for a place to sign it, I'm sure. Okay, found it. Okay, I can't sign it till somebody, I'll make the motion that we accept it. Motion's been made, we accept the contract, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay, ayes have it. I'll sign it. Thank you. Okay, we're in public comments. Tammy Beamer, no. Tad Easter, no. Mary On, no. Jessica Jones. Sandra, is that it?
Sonia.
Sonia, sorry. Evelyn? Julie? Want to speak? I don't know this name here.
Probably want to scribble. I don't want to speak.
Mike Dorn. Joyce B. Want to speak? Bill Posey, want to speak? You wish to speak? I'll put your name on here if you do. Okay. All right. No public comment. That's scary. Okay, new business. Pat Easter, OES report.
I do want to speak.
Thank you, sir.
I'll take them.
Okay, monthly report for September 2013. We finished out the stocking of the OES trailer, and we have one more thing to purchase, which is a Geiger counter, and we've got it on order, so that'll be the last of the purchases for it. The trailer status is active and in service. Luckily, we haven't had to pull it yet to a scene, but it's there. We entered brush fire season today, which we already had 2 calls for brush fires that didn't materialize. Our rain level is 1.9 inches plus. We dropped from 2.6 inches last month. And Mill Creek is at normal fall pool, which means that we're in pretty good shape for water right now in the county. No power outages reported. We've got the sheriff's office generator was installed. All the generators, with the exception of Smith Community, and I couldn't get a hold of Gary last night to find out what happened on it Friday. They should have completed all the generators. We had 2 with gas problems, Banks and Greenwood. Greenwood had to order some pieces, through wall pieces and stuff to the gas plumbing. They were going to complete it yesterday. The Banks had they were tapped onto some free gas out there, so they had to run a line this way across the Meta, and they got it installed. Rusty said they were going to take care of it yesterday. Last Friday. The piece of the parts generator come in. They had a circuit board that was bad in some of the systems, and they come in. They were supposed to complete it and run it on Friday, which left only Smith Community. So I think we're in pretty good shape on that. We paid the bill. I brought the bill up on the sheriff's department. Did you get a hold of Judy? Did it come back again? The letter?
The letter, no, it didn't come back again. I sent it.
Okay, we had a problem. We sent it out to the FRN for that, get that money transferred back over. The letter came back to us, so we just sent it to Judy directly. She's the president. Other than that, we're holding on everything else right now, and hopefully we have a quiet fall. Rusty called me last week while he was in Florida, while I was in Florida. We went over all the generators and stuff, so I think we're in pretty good shape. We've still got 3 to pay for, I think, but he had builders to live yet, and we'll have to figure it out. We'll just be able to pay for half of the parts for the insurance, so I think we're in pretty good shape. In fact, he billed us a lot less for the sheriff's department than he charged for the others, so we may have a little extra money to take care of it. So I hooked him up with Gary Reaper out at Smith Community. But Gary took another job. I didn't realize he went back to work, so. Yeah, he went back to work for North County out there.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and he's not retired anymore, so. That's it. That's the sum total.
I have one question.
Yes, sir.
Burning from 5 p.m., did that not used to be 4 p.m.?
Yep, but it's 5 now.
Okay.
And you can't burn on Sunday. They frown on it, but you can't ticket them for anything for burn on Sunday. It used to be, everybody said, oh, you can't burn on Sunday. Well, you can burn on Sunday, but they frown on it. He said they can't.
Got a question?
Yes.
Is this, some of the well pads that they're putting in with some of the clearing and stuff, what they've been doing is digging ditches or whatever, dumping stuff in, putting accelerant on it, fans on it, and leaving it unmanned.
Well, yes, and believe it or not, we can't even put those out. If they spread off the site, then we're responsible for putting them out, and we can't bill them for it.
But is this legal for them to do?
They get a permit from Charleston for it. Okay.
As long as they have a permit though.
Yeah, they got a permit for it. We can't put it out. They won't. They raise cane with us for putting it out.
Does anybody actually monitor the permits? Does the county?
No, we had one pipeline, the one that runs from Mouth Arms Creek to Pittsburgh last year, had like 27. It was right on the 4-lane, and everybody called it in. We had like 27 reported fires on it. Oh, there's a fire out there. Well, yeah, there's a fire. They're burning brush and stuff. But we responded like 19 times, and we couldn't bill for one of them. And the forestry department usually bills for those for us. Didn't get a thing out of it because they had permits out of Charleston.
Who do they get it from?
Forestry Department.
Forestry Department.
Yeah.
2 questions. Shouldn't those permits be given to the 911 center from the forestry department?
We've asked the companies to call and the 911 center, we supply them with a non-emergency number. 873-3253 is a non-emergency number. We ask them to please call them and tell them they're burning so we don't get repeat of that situation. And some of them do, some of them don't. Pete Gould was the worst. They didn't. They give us a lot of problems, but most of the companies, Michael's, some of the others have been real good about it. Some of the companies, we've requested chipping. If they chip everything, then they don't have to have the fires and stuff, especially in the fall and spring. And a lot of the companies went to chipping everything, and that solves a lot of our problems.
I mean, with some of the locations they're on, I mean, it's pretty far removed from water access and stuff.
Tell us, we know. Okay?
How many transportation accidents last month, or do you know?
I don't have a count on that. I can't tell you right now, but I know that there's been at least 6. None of them with spills that occurred. I know that we was talking last night about the trailer not having to do it.
Has the billing process begun yet?
We haven't physically sent a bill yet, but we've got the contracts all signed and they're back in. And we had questions. Salem wanted to know if they could bill in our county, and we took care of that. Yes, we've had a mutual aid agreement with them for years. We don't have a problem with that. I don't know if anybody's sent any bills in yet, but Smithburg had some ready to go, and I don't know if they physically have mailed it yet. But I would say probably within a week it will, because I know ours, we're starting to work ours up and stuff. The lady's been real helpful down there. That one lady came to the meeting, she's been real helpful. I talked to her and told her the ordinance had been adopted, and she took care of everything else. We mailed our contracts in and stuff. She said if we didn't do each individual department, do a contract with them, then it would be utter chaos when we got time to do our 1099, so we just did that, so we had to do it, which made sense. Anybody else? I gotta go to the dentist to get a crown put back on, so you know I'm looking forward to this one.
You are. Have a great day, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
And welcome. Here. We'll come back to him if he comes in. County website, appointment of committee. Okay, who wants to address that? I'll address that, Mr. Ross.
I can.
Okay, go ahead.
As most of you are aware, we addressed that at the last meeting, and we decided to form a committee. Mr. Spanhall, our assessor, has agreed to be on that committee, and Mrs. Whitney Travis, I think, is going to be on the committee. And I nominated, got a neighbor who's very well versed in that type of thing. Her name is Mary Ann Daggett. She has agreed to be on the committee. Did you have anybody, Butch? I thought you did.
Oh, I'm Mariana, sorry.
Mariana has agreed to be on the committee. And has Tammy agreed to be on the committee?
Good.
Okay. That's the committee.
Spell Marion for that.
Daggett.
Thank you.
It will be up to the members to meet whenever they see fit.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people, is that correct? Is that correct? Okay. I assume we need a motion. Is that correct, clerk? Or counselor? Yes.
So moved.
So moved. Motion's been made. Do to accept the names for the committee. All in favor, aye. All opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Motion carried. Freedom of Information Act policy. What's that all about, Clerk? Somebody's got it.
We requested that this be put on the agenda for this meeting. We had an incident, and the policy has been to disperse information without question. And there was an issue with a news report about the wage and hour issue here in the county. And I asked that it be put on the agenda to discuss the policy of, do we continue to give out information, or do we require freedom of information requests to give out information? So that's why it's on the agenda. I think the previous policy was that basically anybody could come in and get information, and I understand that, but that also can create some problems. So,
Okay, so I guess it was never made a policy. Was it ever made policy that you have to submit for this information? Was that ever a policy made, or is that just?
No, nothing was ever established about that.
Okay, so today I guess we can make a motion that we establish that policy. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, then,
May I ask a question before you make this big motion?
yes.
What does the law say?
Well, the law says that, the Freedom of Information Act is already codified. And what the law says is that every person has a right to inspect or copy public records in a public body of the state, with exceptions. It says a request to inspect or copy a public record shall be made directly to the custodian of the records. And then it says that the custodian, of course, has to allow reasonable opportunity to review the records that have been requested. But it also says that the request for information must state with reasonable specificity the information that's sought. Then the custodian of records has 5 days to comply with the request or to deny the request. And then the code section kind of sets out a whole bunch of exceptions for things that do not have to be turned over, confidential information, employee personnel reports, things of that nature, test questions, if it's an agency that has tests that, provides testing, anything that deals with security or national security and things of that nature. So essentially, the county can, I believe, request that if a person is making a request for a freedom of information, just for lack of a better way to put it, I think the county can make a policy that requests be put in writing so that the custodian of records can review it to make sure that it's specific enough and to make sure that they know what's being sought and to make sure that they can comply with requests without violating, any of the exceptions that are allowable by law. So, Freedom of Information Act itself is fairly well established. And I think, again, the county can just make it a new policy that if someone's making a request that they put that in writing. It doesn't have to be anything elaborate or typed or anything of that nature, but I think it has to be something enough that the custodian of records, which obviously is probably going to be you, clerk, more often than not, maybe not always, but more often than not. But I think it needs to be something so that you can keep it with your records.
So let me get this straight. If I come in here once a week, normally. I go to the person who is in control of the floodplain ordinance stuff. And I say, can I see your notebook that you keep?
Now, I'm not gonna say anything about the floodplain because that's kind of a whole separate animal.
Well, what
So
I'm
let's
saying,
use
the
another
records that are being submitted are here. They're in a notebook. It's public. It's not anything that is listed there. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's not a personnel issue. It's not a legal issue. Am I going to have to go ahead and ask under Freedom of Information Act on a weekly basis to get the information I need to put in the paper?
Well, I mean, I think if the body, the governmental body can make a rule and they can have exceptions. For example, if there is a notebook that's regularly kept as part of something and it's something that the public can access without it being unduly burdensome to the keeper of the records, then they can make an exception even for that.
Okay,
So-
let me ask this question. If there is a list already made that goes along with the Freedom of Information Act and all of this, why do they have to make a motion for something that's already listed there? That's already covered. It says in that you don't give out legal.
Right, their motion wouldn't say, it wouldn't go ahead and delineate what's already exempted. I mean, it's their
But what I'm saying is, why do you need a motion at all? Because it's already there in law. If there's a legal issue involved, you need a FOIA to get it. You know, that's pretty self-explanatory. If it's a personnel issue, there is a FOIA that's needed.
And it would be denied. You're not going to get any of that information.
Right, but it's covered there.
Right, no, they're not going to make a motion that's going to cover the exemptions. I think what they're wanting to do is have a policy going forward so that if a person wants to come in and look at certain records.
Federal and state laws are already pretty clear about that.
Well, but I think federal and state law also allow for the county, the governmental body, to require people to put in writing what they're asking for. So the left hand knows what the right hand is doing because there's a written record as to what was requested and when. I think that's the
Well,
concern.
I get that.
I think that's the concern is not knowing, and I don't want to speak for the commission, they can speak for themselves, but I think that's one of the concerns was information was disclosed. This body did not know when it was disclosed, what the request was made. They just knew that a disclosure was made, and then the three of them didn't even know until after the fact. And I think that they're just wanting to, they're not trying to keep any information from the public. They're just kind of wanting to have a little bit more control as to what's being disseminated and when it's been requested. So it isn't to keep anything away, because really the Freedom of Information Act is just that. It's so the public knows what's going on. Ultimately, there are very few exemptions that are going to cover, I think, the Doddridge County Commission and what goes on in this courthouse because it's all public. There's a small, personnel and security is a very small fraction of what actually happens. But I think that this body just wants to have more information as to what, one of their agents is disclosing to the public. So it really isn't as to keep anything away. It's just so they can track it better. And I think so the clerk has more of a record so that when one of the commissioners comes in and says, well, who made that request and when? And they can just open a file and say, well, here's the letter. And again, it doesn't have to be anything typed or even formal. I think just a regular handwritten letter is something that the clerk can keep track of so that when the commission comes in and says, ask a question, then that way everybody can see it's all trackable. So that's all. And again, I don't want to speak for them. That's just my understanding as to the concern that the body had.
Mr. Thorne's got a question.
Yeah, according to the FOIA for West Virginia, it says there is no statutory requirement that the request be made in writing.
There isn't, but I think that that very same statute also gives the governmental body the ability to prescribe how that statute is complied with.
Does that apply with the records room?
That's
I think that's
public,
up to
that's
them.
public.
Right. It's public, but I think that's up to them to prescribe.
Well, it says that every document that comes in here is public.
again, I think that's up to the commission to decide what they're gonna request.
Personally, I like the idea of the request being made of one person so that it can be tracked. And not to say anything negative towards any employee, but there should be a chain of command, and we should be able to know when the information, who requested the information. Not that, like Ms. Connor said, not that we're trying to hide anything or not disclose any information. It's just nice not to be blindsided at times.
Anything? Go ahead, Mr. Moore.
What if the information isn't requested, it's just sent somewhere?
By,
Somebody?
wouldn't that be if that was an employee, would that be a breach of their employment contract?
I don't think I even understand the question.
If I'm understanding your question, it's, let's assume that an employee in the courthouse is wanting to disclose information to the media or whoever, that if they send it directly to that media, is that what you're referring to?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, if someone's asking for a public record, which we have to turn it over anyway, then there should.
He's just saying that he just got it. Just say, did I get a phone call?
You don't just get anything, you just don't get it. So, I think I don't see how that's possible.
Well, there,
Through the mail maybe, that's be the only way. Otherwise, you have a telephone record on your fax machine, you have an email trace on your email, and if somebody calls you, you have caller ID, so there's no way that you can hide who's calling who from where, but unless they mail it.
Are you talking about like a snitch factor? Somebody just mailing information out and
I guess you could call that. I mean, people are concerned with things and they feel the public needs to know. They disclose information.
And that's a personnel issue, I'd imagine.
that's what I'm saying. I mean, that sounds like the gentleman who is in Russia right now, disclosing confidential information.
It is confidential.
Well, in his case it was, but of course that's up for debate too. But
It's not proprietary information. It doesn't fall under any of the FOIA privileged document information.
I don't know that we can address your hypothetical because it's hypothetical. So I don't know, I mean, that sounds like an intellectual debate, but I don't know that we'll ever get anywhere. Again, I agree with the commissioner, that's something that's up to debate. So,
well, I think that would be, number one, in a situation like that, there would have to be proof, and number two, then we would have to decide if that employee violated their employment contract. Obviously, there would be a purpose, and if it was obtained in the legal manner, the proper manner, through a request, then they've got the same information.
right, and I think that's ultimately the point, which is most everything's going to be disclosed, that will be sought, will be disclosed anyhow. This isn't to keep anything from being disclosed. For example, I mean, since we'll talk about real life facts, the information that was ultimately disclosed, or provided for the purposes of the article, would have been disclosed anyway. So it isn't as if that information would not have been made public anyhow, under, the direction I think that the commission wants to head.
Yes,
The
ma'am.
question I have is stated there was a 5-day time period
Right.
once a request is received. So if the 5-day time period is not met, what are the repercussions for that?
It says, under the enforcement provision of the code section, it says any person that's denied a right to inspect a public record may institute proceedings for injunctive or declaratory relief in the circuit court.
It's a private court case.
Where do we want to go?
And it further goes on to say that any, I guess after that code section, any custodian of public record who willfully violates the provisions is guilty of a misdemeanor, so it is unlawful.
I do have a question I get asked questions all day long from employees and elected officials. Are they going to be exceptions? It's mainly just bookkeeping or payroll issues. They're just part of their function.
Well, I mean,
and
you're
their
doing
positions.
something, that's part of their regular business.
Yeah.
That's not a public person requesting.
Okay, so that's something separate.
Right,
I
that
don't
would be
have to worry
uncalled.
about them writing it down.
Right.
I just want to make sure.
Personally, if these are, if an employee of mine were to disseminate information without letting me be aware, I would be unhappy. And I know that a private enterprise is different from government, but I think that requests should come through the public information officer or the department heads, the elected officials, would be my thought.
I agree with you, Greg. I would like to see a policy, a motion made that we have this policy and we enforce it. I mean, they did point out that state policy is already there, the code's already there, but we can change the code as well, we can change what we want as we so desire. And I don't think we're asking for anything, outrageous for you to do.
Mrs. Carr, could you draft a policy for the next meeting?
Sure.
Is that agreeable with everybody?
Agreeable with me.
You'll put it on the agenda for next meeting? Okay.
Thank you. Okay, next item is security.
Suggestion,
Yeah,
Julie and Sonia need to probably get back to work. And a lot of these issues are just things with you all. So could we skip down and do the breast cancer awareness proclamation?
yeah, we can do that.
And Jessica's here on the domestic violence proclamation.
Okay. Who wants to go first?
Okay, thank you.
Proclamation, West Virginia Breast Cancer Awareness Day and Breast Cancer Awareness Month. In 2013, an estimated 1,324 West Virginia women will be diagnosed with breast cancer, and approximately 282 women will die from the disease. Breast cancer continues to be a leading cause of cancer-related deaths among West Virginia women. A woman has a 1 in 8 chance of developing breast cancer in her lifetime and a 1 in 36 chance of dying from the disease. Currently, the best method to reduce deaths to breast cancer is through early detection of the disease. Women age 50 and older should have a mammogram at least every 2 years. Women ages 40 to 49 should talk with their healthcare provider about their screening schedule. Clinical breast exams by a physician or a nurse are recommended every 3 years for women starting in their 20s and 30s, and every year for a woman 40 and over. Breast self-exam is an option for women starting in their 20s. Women should be told about the benefits and limitations of breast self-examination. Clinical breast self-exams, and mammograms can save lives. Women should talk to their healthcare provider about their individual screening schedules. At the offices of Doddridge Family Medicine, the Doddridge County Health Department, and the primary care, free screenings are available to women who qualify income-based. We do offer the Bonnie's Bus that will be here in November, and that is, again, eligible for women, free if they qualify based on income. It is also for women who have private insurances. So there are means of getting breast exams and cervical cancer screenings in the county for women. We don't want to turn anyone away because of their lack of insurance, which hopefully next year with Obamacare, we won't have a situation where no woman will be untreated for any medical conditions. So I'll give you the proclamation to sign, and we'll make October Doddridge County Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
Any motion before us now?
So moved.
Okay, motion's been made. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Nay. The ayes have it. What particular place am I supposed to sign? There's a lot of places here.
Yeah,
I
there's-
want you to write them, okay?
I think
There's a lot of places.
it says I in
Right here?
You fill out that part, and then right here, and then all of you sign right down the bottom.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
You too.
Okay, you're next.
You.
Come on up here. You might want to use that microphone. You got awful low voice.
Do I have to use the microphone?
Well, we can't hear you. All right. Maybe if you speak loud, you won't have to.
Okay, I'll speak louder. I'm the domestic violence advocate for Doddridge County. I've been here for a year now, and last year we had a gambling problem in our community. Last year we had 49 protective orders issued for it. This year, in a 6-month period, we were at 40. So with your guys' help last year in declaring October Domestic Violence Awareness Month, we brought awareness to the community. We are also working with the prosecutor's office if they have a woman or man who's been a victim of domestic violence. They call me. Also, the sheriff's department calls me. So we are all working together to make this issue more public and take a stand on it that it's not acceptable in our community.
I'll make a motion, somebody.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, motion's been made, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
All opposed, nay, the ayes have it, motion is carried. I'll read it.
Well, it's probably because they didn't have anybody reported anyway.
We're ready. We're ready to get first camera.
Well, actually, I'm not on. I'm all right with you right now.
She just happens to have one that's probably.
Oh, really?
I'm prepared.
Oh, they do? Okay.
Are we getting Kim a picture? Is that what I heard?
What do we do?
Probably the whole.
Oh,
Yes.
You want to,
Stand up.
why don't
Stand up.
you stand up and stand down here?
stand up.
No, I'm sorry. I would take this.
Oh.
Some of them
Come on up.
take a picture. Take a
How's it? You looking good?
Some of you are.
What?
Fix it, have I go home.
You said that jump ahead. Huh? The jump ahead. Now to get those two done. So,
Got it?
first we're gonna do that.
Excuse me. Thank you. Okay. I guess you. You ready? Okay, we'll go on to G, Community Resources Letter of Endorsement.
Was someone supposed to have given me a letter or something to go by or on this?
I was assuming they would give you a letter, but you haven't received no
I
letter?
haven't heard anything from anybody.
Okay, so can we draft a letter for them? They want to apply for a grant. They want a letter from the commission of endorsement to apply for this grant.
Okay.
Can-
Who is the person?
I knew you was gonna ask. I knew you was gonna ask. I forgot.
What's the organization?
Community Resources.
Oh, that is the organization.
Yeah. And I had the lady's name wrote down and I don't have it with me. I'm sorry. Daughter name. I'll get that information for you.
Okay. Are you all going to approve such a letter? And then when I get the information, I can get it fixed up?
I don't see any reason why we wouldn't approve somebody some information to apply for a grant. You know,
What kind of grant is
they
it?
wanna get a grant so they can build 5 or 6 new homes for underprivileged people in Doddridge and Howard County and Ritchie County.
I would suggest that we contact them and have them prepare something. I would prefer not
Okay,
to agree to something that I don't know what I'm agreeing to.
okay, that's fine. I will get a hold of them and give them their information, okay?
I'll move that we table the community resources letter of endorsement issue.
Okay.
Now put it on for next time.
Please.
There might be on a time limit depending on what the,
I'll find out.
there's a lot of times like there's a set time and
Yeah,
stuff
that
has
has
to
to
be
be
in. So you might want to check on that.
I
So-
told her when our meeting dates were, and she didn't think that there was a problem that they were in the big time schedule. But I'll call her today and find out something.
If there was a time issue, we could,
Yeah.
within 2 days, we can have a special meeting for that item
We
only.
had to do that sometimes on grants before.
Okay. Okay, then move and table for the next meeting. Results of meeting with DCEMS and AA Board on September 25th. Okay, you want to speak on this, Shirley? You don't have to.
We had the meeting, it was well attended by the boards of both organizations, and with Mr. Rick Rock, the individual that we've been discussing possibilities with, and there were several interested citizens of the county that come out also. He and we made a presentation, and they asked various questions, and we have I guess you could call it, the agenda is they were to think about the proposal, and they were to each vote on what they wanted, whether they wanted to accept this or not. As of this date, we haven't heard anything from either organization, which doesn't surprise me because that was just last Wednesday. And this is something that will take considerable amount of thought. And then they would have to have a meeting, I'm sure, to decide. But it seemed to be well received. Now, whether or not they decide, I have no idea at this point. But if they decide, then we will proceed. If they decide not to, then we have to go back to the drawing board and see what we come up with next. That's the results. Everyone seemed, it was not like previous meetings we've had in the past where there's been lots of discord. There was, I hate to say everybody was well behaved, but that's the way it was.
Damn it.
I understood that the emergency services, both organizations, were to turn their financial records over to Rick Rock for him to review. Is that to take place before they make their decision or after?
That would have to be after, because if either organization said no, then we have to go a different route anyway.
But I see what you're saying, but at the same time, there needed to be a tentative step there. You know, he may look at those records even after they decide yes or no and say, hey, they can do this.
Exactly.
So why would you not go ahead and look at the records first and sit down and him give his opinion? I mean, he is your consultant.
I wouldn't, kind of like getting the cart before the horse, in my opinion. You know, first, you have to get the agreement of both organizations. And at that point, then you begin the process of determining whether this is still feasible. It's a process that, you know, personally, if I were on either board, I would be hesitant to turn over records if I wasn't planning on accepting this. That's just simply my view.
That's my feeling, also. Alright. Anybody else got anything to say? Got anything to say, Fred?
I agree. Should wait, turn over the
Okay. Rick Todd, Salem Fire Department requests to bill for services in Doddridge County. Spoke with Rick Todd, and I spoke with Pat Easter, and you all heard Pat Easter say that the billing process is in place, and Rick Todd is the fire chief of Salem Fire Department, if you don't know who I'm talking about, and he does cover part of Doddridge County on automobile accidents and fires, and he asked permission to bill for his services when he's in Doddridge County, and he's not asking for anything that anybody else is doing. So I need a motion to give him this permission to do so.
I'll make a motion for Rick Todd to receive billing for the services in the county.
Motion's been made. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Motion is carried. I will contact him and let him know. Resolution for Justice Assistance Grant.
This is what you're voting. The resolution's what you're voting on. I signed the resolution. You're voting to allow Ralph to sign the contract.
I can hear you, by the way, very good on that microphone there, and I really
Thank
like
you.
that. Before, I was struggling to hear anything you said.
I'm so glad you can
I'm
hear me.
happy with this. Very,
I'm glad you-
very, very satisfied.
I'm glad you can hear me, Ralph.
Thank you. Thank you.
I can hear you too.
Would you like for me to read this resolution?
Yes, that'd probably be a good
I will.
idea.
The Commission of Doddridge County met on this date with a quorum to present and pass the following resolution. Be it resolved that the Commission of Doddridge County hereby authorizes Ralph Sandora, President of the Doddridge County Commission, to act on his behalf to enter into a contractual agreement with the Division of Justice and Community Services to receive and administer grant funds pursuant to the provisions of the Justice Assistance Grant Program.
And this is a $20,000 grant.
Is there a match, county match?
Yes.
How much?
Is that the PRO?
Yeah, this is
Oh,
the
you have the
PRO.
Wait, this one is,
Yeah, this is the PRO grant.
Yeah, that's the high school.
Have we already approved that?
You've approved the grant, but all you're approving now is him to sign this.
Okay, so we're not committing to any more money, then we're just...
No, this is the same
Okay.
grant you already approved.
I'll move I'll move that we accept the resolution for the Justice Assistance Grant.
Okay, motion's been made, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, the motion is carried. Thank you very much. Okay, courthouse parking. I guess that's what you're doing here.
Apparently I'm the figurehead for this.
Yeah.
Turn it on? Is it?
Yeah, it's on.
On?
Yes, seems to be on.
Okay.
We have a petition that's basically asking for reserved parking places for the people who have signed. There's 17 courthouse employees who are just asking for reserved spots. Not any more parking than what we already have out here. The basis for this is because employees during the day may need to run to post office, the bank, may want to go out to lunch, those type of things, and they can't do that because there's no parking when they come back. A lot of counties have reserved parking for their employees. A lot of businesses have a reserved parking area for their employees. There's 17 total. Of course, all the elected officials already have reserved spots. So I'm supporting this. I believe Mr. Spunham was here supporting this. I believe Beth was also supporting it on behalf of her employees. Basically, they have to carry boxes in or things for their office. Some work late at night, and for that purpose and for security purposes, we would just ask that these people be given a reserved spot. Like I said, there's 17. There's 7 spots going down the hill after Dwight and Dave Spunham, those 2 reserved spots. So that would just leave 10 more that we would request over here in the paved area. This is the same parking that is here every day. We're not asking for anything extra, just specific spots for people so they can go conduct business for their office or go conduct personal business or that type of thing and be able to get back and get a parking place because the employees may have a set lunch hour from 12 to 1 and don't have time to lap the building 4 times and not get back into their office till 1:15 or thereafter and worry about those type of issues. So that's the basis for it. We're not trying to take out any of the public parking or, infringe on anybody else's spots or anything, but if we could just have those spots with reserve signs and ask that maybe the employees work with Mark to, get that finished. But here is our petition that I'll give to you and the people who have signed it, and we just respectfully ask that you consider it. So then, for instance, in my office, if we need something from the post office, a lot of times my girls are here before they put the mail up down there. If I need them to run down and get something because we're expecting it, they come back and they're lapping the building and can't find anywhere. So I end up usually stopping whatever I'm doing and running down and running errands. If we need to pick things up at the board office or, different places, I usually do running just because I have a reserved spot. And some days that's fine, that's not a problem, but if it's a court day or if there's something I'm working on that's not handy, and I know I've heard this from all the employees who are on that list. I've heard it repeatedly. So we finally kind of took the bull by the horns and got this petition together and hope you will consider it.
I have a couple of questions.
Yes.
Do you know how many spots are in this lot out here total?
A lot more than 10. I think we counted total going down the hill and in the parking lot. There was, I think in this parking lot over here, there was maybe 16 or something like that, and we just would need 10 out of this area over here.
Now-
And that's apart from what you already have set aside for the family court judge
Okay.
and the public parking, because
That's
we
what I was
don't
going,
want
that was
to.
my next question.
Yeah, we don't want to step on anybody's toes that's already reserved. We're not asking to take any public parking or any
Okay.
judge's parking or anybody's reserved spots. Just ask for the open spots that are left, if those could be reserved for the employees.
I think we have 3 spots out there that's for the public to come in and do business at the courthouse.
Yeah,
I
and
believe
I've
there's
heard
3.
I've heard a lot of statements that there needs to be more than that for the public, more 30-minute parking spots.
More.
Yes, because a lot of people have trouble getting in here to do their taxes or do whatever work they need to do in the courthouse because those spots of, 30-minute spots are taken. So, I think that my purpose today is just asking that there be the reserved spots for the employees.
Okay, so you're talking down the hill, you want those spots?
What those are typically held by employees. Those 7 other spots typically are courthouse employees try to get those, get here early to get those.
Oh, okay.
So it's usually pretty much the same people that park in those 7 spots, if they can get here early enough to get them, and then that would be 10 more. And we are requesting in the paved, because in the winter, that's typically cleared more so than the gravel or the lot over here by the Lions Club. So we would ask, since these are employees who are here every day, who have to be here on certain hours, and who do carry things, that they be given the paved spots for more convenience and safety and all that. But no, we absolutely do not want to infringe on anybody who already has a spot or the public's need for spots or anything like that. We would just ask for spots aside from that.
Okay, I will make a suggestion that if we do this, what they're asking, that we put people's names on that spot. We'll get signs made with your name, so there's no question who's parked in my spot.
Or a number.
Or a number that goes to a
Well,
list
that'll
with
work.
the name.
A name
Yeah.
or a number.
So security or the sheriff's department could know if there's somebody parked in that spot that's not supposed to be, so.
Yeah.
I mean, what I would suggest is maybe just number the spots and then just put the numbers in a fishbowl and pull them out. And maybe that way, so it's not as if there's favoritism one way or the other. But I don't know if that's what will work. That's just,
Yeah. But that's what we would ask, specific spots.
yeah, I don't know
So
how
that we
else
know
to do it.
in spot 2, if that's, somebody in her office's parking place, then it's easy to discern if that's an outside person parking there.
That's fine.
And not that we want a bunch of people getting towed or anything, I think most people will be respectful of that, but just so people can come and go and run errands and do, or, if they come in late after an appointment or things like that, that they have a spot waiting for them, because that's the norm in most businesses in most
Okay.
counties.
I guess we're gonna have a problem monitoring the parking. Who's gonna monitor this?
Well, at this time, I don't think we're asking you to do anything special as far as that goes. I mean, we have reserved spots, and it's generally not, people don't generally park in that, and
Okay.
sometimes if they do, it's usually like a 30-minute person who's coming in to do business, and then they're gone. I guess if it would down the road get to be a real problem where employees are coming in and somebody's always in their spot, then maybe we would need to address that with courthouse security or the sheriff's department or something like that. But hopefully people will be respectful of a reserved sign, and it wouldn't be an issue.
Well, I have just one other comment to make, okay? I would hope that you wouldn't take the spots closest to the courthouse, because we are here to serve the public also.
Right.
I mean,
And that's the
why
ones that
we're
are closest, is the public parking. And that's why I said, we don't want to take anything away from anyone. We would ask for the ones that are remaining, that are just open right now. We don't want to step on any other toes or anything like that, just.
And we gotta think of handicap people.
Exactly,
Okay.
exactly,
All
yes,
right.
yes.
So I'm in agreement with what you want. I don't know how they feel, but they can speak up.
I think that just a number may not be sufficient. It may be, maybe require a reserved sign, would be my opinion. Someone could come in and say, oh, that's nice, they've numbered their parking spots. But if it says reserved, that would be my opinion. I think one thing that we probably need to do, and this may be something that we have to look at a different time, the underlying problem is all the activity. That's causing not only problems in the parking lot, but other problems. I think we need to address that, because if we don't, it's not going to get any better. So I don't know if there's any other parking areas in town that we could maybe make some kind of arrangements that the oil and gas people could use. But if somebody has to walk, it shouldn't be county employees, it shouldn't be the public. So I think we need to investigate that at some point in time, but I don't have a problem with assigning spots for the employees, because I agree, we want our employees to be as efficient as possible, and driving around looking for a parking spot is not in anybody's job description, I don't think. So, that's...
I think if we didn't put reserve, that the public would know. We need to put reserve.
I like to see it put reserve in the person's name that's going to park there. And if somebody comes up here bitching about reserve sign, say, well, this is who's supposed to park here. He or she works in this courthouse, but she's not here today, or he's not here today. Sorry. Okay? That spot's open. If you need it, get in it. That's my opinion. People, I've fought with parking lots a lot longer than you guys have. I'm a little older than you have. It's a big issue. People read numbers and they don't pay any attention. They say, oh, gee, look at this, number 10. Oh, I'm lucky today, I'm in number 10. That don't mean nothing to them. He was first.
Yeah, I don't know about putting somebody's name on it, maybe a title or position, but, unless they're an elected official, I'm not quite sure that would be, I wouldn't want somebody to know that that's my car. I think I'm looking for something.
Privacy.
I agree.
That could be a safety issue at some point. So maybe a title.
Employees only. Courthouse employees.
Yeah, courthouse employees,
There you
yeah.
go. That's fine.
And, with a permit number.
Yeah.
That corresponds to a tag on a mirror.
Good.
That's what I was suggesting. I know in more urban areas, like where parking is a ridiculous issue, what they started doing in those regions where area residents had something they stuck in their windshield. And anybody else and visitors to those folks they'd have a couple of complimentary passes, but if you didn't have something on your windshield, you were subject for ticketing.
She was first. Sorry.
Can I address the issue of the sheer number of people who are coming in here, and you all having to worry? You just spoke about checking around to see if there was more parking. That's not the county commission's responsibility. That you've got oil and gas people who are making plenty of money. They can set up a parking lot for their employees to be in.
That's a valid point.
They're the ones making the money. They've overrun us, and they need to trim back. And if you continue to offer more and more parking, more and more area for the work, then they're going to keep on getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So let them find a place to park.
That's a valid point.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am, go ahead.
Does 17 represent the rest of your full-time employees?
17 is just the number who requested or wanted to sign the petition and provide a reserve spot.
Would you say that's half, most?
I think that's short 5 people, or 5 people within the courthouse, 5 5 people have chose not to sign for different reasons.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, Mr. Noble?
Mr. President, I agree with the aspect of the employees being able to have a place to park, an area to park. I understand that. I was an employee at one time. But I don't want us to lose, as you have already mentioned, I don't want us to lose the priority that someone coming to pay their taxes, file their assessment, do a deed, the public who we're serving still needs to have parking open. And I don't know what the answer is, but I had an individual just recently tell me, I came up, to file my assessment, I could not find a place to park. And I know you can say, well, you can mail that in and you can, call in or whatever, but still, that person had made an effort to come and could not find a place to park. Parking is an issue. There is no doubt that it is a problem. I don't have all the answers. I would like for you all to consider, and I think you are, but there's just different circumstances that are stopping that. But I'd like to see the parking lot over here, that eventually I'd like to see it be paved. Parking lot out back, once it settles and everything gets done, I mean, it would be nice to have some nicer, areas of parking for the courthouse. But I don't want us to lose our priority here that, the public needs places that are close to the courthouse, to be able to get in here, to do their business.
Let me ask you a question. Well, I didn't mean to interrupt.
I'm done.
Okay, let me ask you a question. If we would pave the parking lot behind the sheriff's office, okay, just say we decide we're going to pave that, and make that employees parking, period. Employees parking, period.
I don't think that was the idea behind it, because when you're carrying boxes and you're carrying work in, I think the distance from there.
Okay.
I would just ask that this parking, if you're going to make an employee parking, I would ask that this over here and down the hill be employee and public. I mean, given only 17 people and there's a lot more parking spots than that, and I totally agree with Dave, the public needs to have plenty of parking. That's why I said maybe even add more public spots over there, and there's still plenty of spots for both county employees and public going down the hill and in this lot over here. And then that serves the main people in the courthouse and coming to the courthouse to do their business, and just the distance back there.
So when you say public, are you saying to make those the 30-minute only parking spots? Because I think an oil and gas person's gonna say, well, I'm public. So I think unless you designate more as 30-minute only or something like that, I don't know how the oil and gas folks are gonna feel that they're prohibited from these spots. So that's the issue. That's the issue, is they're here, they camp out all day, and then if a regular citizen wants to come in and pay their taxes or something, they're still in the same loop of circling the block, especially on court days. When you've got all these lawyers coming in, and we lawyers, when I was just a regular private attorney, more often than not, I'd have to park down at the church and walk up. Because there was, if you get here about 9 o'clock in the morning, there's no place except for down at the church. And someone said they're going to start restricting people from parking down there unless you're on church business, so.
I don't think we even own this lot across the street over here. I think that belongs to the town.
Yeah. And we just,
They've been generous, let us use it. Otherwise, we would be in a pickle. Well, we're in a pickle anyway. Well, I can't say anymore, so I don't know what else to say.
You always run a shuttle bus from the football field. For the oil and gas, yeah. They can run a shuttle bus.
Right, thank you. They can run the show.
They can run it, and pay the board ahead for using no space for parking.
Tammy's got a valid point. Why should we worry about where they're parking?
Right.
I mean, they're here doing a job, we're here doing a job, you know, we're trying to get along, but I think they're pushing their boundaries.
Well, the other thing you can do is, I mean, issue if people want to park county residents and want to come in, you could issue, you know, just something that people can stick in their windshield as proof that they are county residents or whatever.
I think that would be a great idea. I think that would be a great idea.
Yeah, tax ticket, there you go.
You're paying the tax ticket.
Yes, ma'am.
I've worked in other counties. This problem isn't only a Doddridge County problem. But the thing of it is that whenever I was working, if I had to park a mile away, I had to park a mile away.
Yeah, I know.
Okay?
Yeah.
The county commission didn't care one way or the other.
Well, we do care. Okay.
I know in Ritchie County, when my wife worked there, that they designated a lot, and they said, this is employee parking, and they issued them tags that they hung on their windshield. And if you didn't have tags, you didn't park over there.
I like
They had more area to work with than what we had.
Well, I'd like to see you have a tag on your windshield where you're going to park out here. You don't have to have your name or anything. I never thought about that, but a tag, because somebody's going to come in here and say, well, look, you know, there's a car over here, and they're going to question who it belongs to, da-da-da-da-da. And the county commission is going to get called in. Another problem to resolve. That's my opinion. Make it as simple as we can, okay? Who wants to take this project and go with it? Mr. Ronaldo, you can.
Was there a vote?
He can be
Yeah.
pressed.
That's right. You make up the tags for the windshield and all that.
Oh, I can handle that.
I know.
It seems like you're always in the middle of it, Dave.
He's an assessor.
Was there a vote?
Not yet. We're discussing it, okay?
I told you need to come to all these meetings, Dave.
I can tell you, I am not going to be the one that is going to say this spot is yours and this spot is yours. If you want some tags, something like that drawn up, yes, I'll
Well,
do that.
don't let me decide how you want to do it. Just make it simple.
I'm not saying now these spots are courthouse employees and these spots are public and these, absolutely not.
Well,
And it's not in the assessment.
if the commission agrees, then you need to put some signs out there, and you need to cut everybody's name in a container and pull them out and assign them the spots where they want the parking to be done with.
Just do it first come, first served. Whoever shows up to work early gets the closest spot.
You want somebody to get shot. Yes, ma'am?
Why don't you just designate 17 parking spots as reserved parking for employees? Draw up the tags, put a number on them. Let the employees draw a tag out of the hat or out of the bag and assign that number to that employee. People put up it inside so that you know who has what parking spot and let them hang it in their windshield.
It's a good idea.
Well, another way that we could handle this would be to make this area employee and residents coming to do business in the courthouse, that parking lot and the area down the street are designated for that purpose. And you may have to have a number of signs, but I guess if you indicate that the whole parking lot is restricted, you wouldn't have to have maybe a couple of signs. And then not have assigned spots for the employees, but tell the employees that the 3 spots that are currently open for visitors to the courthouse, and maybe the first 3 on the other side are restricted to just to visitors. And the others, if you get here first and you like the first spot, it's your spot. And if someone else gets here before you do and takes that spot, you take the next spot. But only employees and or visitors can be included, can park in that area. Then you got the situation of who's going to enforce this.
Yes, ma'am.
What about the library? I mean, the same issue, I use the library all the time. And it's the same issue depending, like sometimes I come after 4 when all the gas people are cleared out because it's easier to find a parking spot. But I mean, that's also a county facility and there are a lot of people that use it and sometimes it's the same thing on the parking spot. And then, you know, you're talking about employees and stuff, but you also have the Hope and some of the other businesses that are in this region that are confronted with the same issue. It's not just the courthouse employees. But, you know, if you're going to do that, you know, if you wanted to reserve that one lot, it would make sense to include, you know, these other folks that are working here on a daily basis or I mean, it's just a suggestion.
Of course, then we say, okay, add those employees.
I know.
Then, okay, add these people, and pretty soon the whole area is restricted parking. I don't know.
Sounds good.
I understand from the library user point of view, but
This maybe the easiest would be if you just did reserved for employee, courthouse employee signs or something on the spots, and then if you did the hanging tag, and then we wouldn't have the issue of which employee gets to park where. You know, it just, as long as they have that hanging tag, they can park in one of those spots that says reserved for courthouse employees. Because like out here where the electeds park, it just says reserved. We've figured out on our own who parks where, and we abide by that with mutual agreement, that there's nothing set in stone of who gets to park where.
Even then, I've come back many times in law enforcement. They think they can park in those reserved places because our name's on them.
Right.
And I've had law enforcement, I've had the van from the jail
Yes.
park there, and had Easter parks there sometimes.
I parked there while you was in trouble.
The truth comes out. Down with 3 evenings a week, that's,
12 hours.
yes. That's quite a bit when you're not bothered. You get so much more work done like after 4 o'clock than you can from 8:30 to 4 some days. Some days I don't get anything done until after 4 because we're on a weekend or something because we're phone. If you really want to help me, cut the phone line. But I know that's not possible.
well, I can relate to that too. I can.
Yeah, now we have 2 lines coming in, so 2 people are on the phone an awful lot.
Well, personally, I think that would be. I tend to agree with you that it should be a part-time employee, and I think that that would be something that you should be responsible for organizing, whether your full-time employee is doing the scanning or the indexing, and this part-time employee would be doing one or the other. I would think that would be up to you to determine the most efficient way, and the only thing we can do is facilitate that by authorizing a part-time employee with the understanding that that's all they will ever be and that they have no benefits.
I'm good with that.
Okay, I will move that the county commission authorize the county clerk to hire a part-time employee to assist in the indexing/scanning process to accomplish that more quickly.
Okay. Motion on the floor. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, motion is carried.
Is there a certain amount to be paid because we're having to move money into our budget?
Does anybody, what are the skills necessary to index? What are the skills necessary to scan?
Computer knowledge. You have to be able to know how to operate the computer, typing skills.
Indexing skills. I don't know what CCSI uses, but it's like Excel, right? The index program is like Excel, right?
Not that.
We're pretty close.
Yeah, it looks a lot like it, but it doesn't quite practice it. It's not that hard to learn, but if you have basic computer skills, it would definitely assist you and make it faster.
That's what I was gonna say, the basic computer skills or anything specialized at all, just basic.
Yeah.
So do you have an hourly rate in mind?
$10 to $12 an hour. Some of it depends on previous experience too. Some people come in and they've got all kinds of skills and they've had all kinds of experience in the office, whatever. So I'll probably depend on that, what you all decide.
But you're saying $10 to $12 would be sufficient? Do we need to make another motion, or do I need to rescind and restate?
Would that be on your shoulders to do the wage thing?
Pretty much. They agree to put it, they have to agree to put it, we just have to agree to put the money in the budget.
I'll make a motion that we put the money in your budget to hire this part-time person.
And rate of $10 to $12, 10 or 12 depending on the experience.
I'll make that motion. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it.
That was max 20 hours a week.
Yep. That's true.
It's got to be under 20 hours, right? Under 20 hours.
Under.
Sometimes there's people who are retired, but wouldn't mind having a couple days a week work, you know.
Right.
That's your choice.
That it? Is that it?
Invoice is all we got.
I'm sorry I was late. Wanted to see if I could get a comment about your decision on the FOIA policy.
The decision was that requests must be made through the keeper of records.
Department head. Department heads?
And/or department heads only for
Whatever they might be seeking.
whatever they might be seeking, yes.
And that's gonna be for everything? I mean, are you gonna go clear down to like, if there's something on the agenda that someone would like a copy of, you have to do it for something as simple as that?
We're gonna work on a policy.
Yeah.
They want me to work on coming and drafting a policy to present to the next meeting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So at this time, they just told you to move forward and
Right.
get
To
more.
try to come up with a policy.
Are there-
To address the issues.
Are there any budget revisions?
I don't know, is there budget revision?
Yes, they're going to be, I'll have to move money.
Yeah, it's gonna be.
You just approved.
I'm taking a break.
Another,
I am too.
Did Mr. Raymond have